Your draft sat there 3 days. You kept tightening the wording while the listing switched to closed. Look at the screen. Last modified, 3 days ago. Right next to it, the listing reads, "Closed, no longer accepting." You were careful, you were thorough, and the option left anyway. Now look at your phone. Stacked notifications on the lock screen. Unread badge sitting at 47. Behind that, a draft window cursor blinking. Nothing sent. You call that thoroughness. But thoroughness that never ships anything isn't thoroughness. It's a shield. It makes you feel responsible while the only action that counts, sending the thing, stays untouched. And the environment doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It just updates. Here's what the checking actually looks like when you slow it down. You refresh your inbox, nothing new. You refresh again, nothing. You refresh a third time, one new reply, good news. So you refresh sooner next time. And sooner after that. That, sometimes, is the training signal. It's not every time, it's not never. It's just often enough to keep the loop running. Watch the clock on screen. 4 minutes pass between the first check and the 10th. The gaps get shorter. The slow task loses a little more ground each round. Now, compare the two tracks. Rapid cuts. You change a font, rename a file, reword a subject line. Each one feels clean. Each one closes in under 10 seconds. That's the fast loop instant feedback. Zero exposure. Then look at the sent folder. 0 items today. The slow loop drafting, applying, shipping doesn't give you anything back for hours, sometimes days. So the tiny tweaks win. They produce a quick, "I did something" feeling without requiring you to commit. And you count them as progress because they happened inside the document. But the document is still a draft. Watch the draft again. Subject line edited 4 times. One sentence highlighted and reworded. Then reworded back. No send. Timestamp moves from 2:14 p.m. to 3:47 p.m. The risk you're managing here isn't failure. It's visible imperfection. You're not trying to get it right. You're trying to make it impossible to look careless. And solid enough never arrives while you're under pressure, because pressure makes every flaw louder. So you keep tightening, and the cursor never reaches the send button. Look at the calendar. The deadline is highlighted 4 days out, then 3, then 2. Now look at the listing page. Spots remaining, 3. Refresh. Spots remaining, 1. Refresh. Filled. The price screenshot. Tuesday it was 1 number, Thursday it's higher. The reply window. Someone responded within 2 hours on Monday. By Friday the thread is cold. These aren't emotional consequences. These are page states. They flip on a schedule that has nothing to do with how ready you feel. Every hour you spend tightening a draft is an hour where slots fill, prices shift, replies cool, and availability shrinks. The window doesn't care about your standards. It just moves. This isn't a focus problem. You can focus. You proved it by spending 40 minutes adjusting one paragraph. The problem is what you're focused on. You keep trying to buy certainty with one more check, one more edit, one more refresh, and each purchase costs time. Meanwhile, the window keeps sliding. The only unit of progress that counts is something that exists outside your head. Sent, posted, submitted, done, not revised, not ready, sent. A draft sits open beside a listing that reads, closed. That's the gap. Then a sent timestamp, 4:12 p.m. beside an open listing. That's the difference. Watch the screen. Tabs open, 7 of them. Inbox refreshes. Phone lights up. Back to notes. Back to tabs. Inbox again. A clock runs in the corner. 1 minute passes. 2. The switching accelerates. Tab. Refresh. Phone. Notes. Tab. 3 minutes. Nothing is sent. Nothing is finished. The activity is constant and the output is 0. Now, a timer appears on screen. It starts counting down from 4 minutes. No instruction. No voiceover. Just the numbers dropping. 3:59, 3:58. The switching continues for a few seconds, then starts to slow. The cursor moves to a draft. The timer keeps counting. A finger taps send. Send confirmation appears. Timestamp. 4:12 p.m. 1 output. Done. A calendar app opens. A 10-minute block gets created 46 hours from now. The title isn't Work on Project. It's Send First Paragraph to David, named. Visible, locked. Now the pattern has a name. The certainty tax. Every extra check is a fee you pay to feel safe, and the fee is time. Refresh the inbox that costs 90 seconds. Reword the subject line another 2 minutes. Reread the whole draft 4 more. Each one feels responsible. Each one charges you while the listing ticks from 3 spots to filled. The switching footage you just watched, that was a tax bill. The closed listing was the receipt. Now stretch the cost forward. That late follow-up email sent Thursday instead of Tuesday. The thread went cold, no reply. The application submitted on the last day, 3 positions already filled, 1 left, and 200 people applied in the final window. The price you checked Monday and decided to think about by Wednesday, it moved up 18%. The conversation you drafted and redrafted by the time you sent it, the other person had already made their decision without your input. None of this was reckless, all of it was careful. And careful, stretched far enough, becomes the most expensive option. Your standards don't lower the cost, they raise it. Because every extra day of tightening is a day where the best available version of the outcome quietly disappears. Here's the ritual. 3 steps. Shortest sentences in this whole piece. 1. Set a cutoff. Start a 4-minute timer. Pick the one task with the nearest real deadline. Nothing else. 2. Ship 1 proof. Send 1 small imperfect output. 1 paragraph. 1 request. 1 file. 1 booking. It doesn't need to be good. It needs to be sent. 3. Lock next slot. Put a 10-minute block on your calendar within 48 hours. Title it with the next visible deliverable, not Work on X. A specific sent item. Pause. You're not checking for certainty. You're paying for relief. Start today. Run 1 4-minute timer and send 1 thing before you check anything else. Here's why this works in plain language. It flips your scoreboard. Instead of counting checks, edits, and rereads, the only number that matters is sent. That creates fast feedback from real-world outputs, a reply, a confirmation, a rejection, anything which replaces the fake feedback you were getting from refreshes. And the timer pins your action to an external cutoff, so you stop trying to feel safe before you move. More research doesn't create safety. More planning tools don't create safety. More distraction removal doesn't create safety. 1 sent item under a real cutoff does. The listing closed while the draft was still open. The timer hit 0. 1 thing got sent. The next slot is already on the calendar.